Hi everyone. Are you one of those people that has been wondering if there's a connection between 5G and COVID-19? I've received a number of questions, a very interesting YouTube video, which I think has been taken off the internet now, suggesting that 5G causes COVID-19. And I wanted to answer those questions for you because even though some things are coming off the internet, I am still getting some questions. My name is Dr. Denise Furness. I'm a geneticist and a nutritionist, and I specialise in personalised health. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I used to work in virology. In this video, I'm going to briefly touch on 5G, if there's a connection with the coronavirus and the impacts that 5G may have on health. So starting with 5G. 5G is different to 3 and 4G in that it has higher frequency waves, but they travel at shorter distances. So this new 5G technology means that the internet is going to be faster and it can actually manage or has the capacity to deal with a lot more data. And that is exciting for some of us, but there are some genuine concerns for some people, particularly because these waves travel at a shorter distance. We're going to need to have a lot more towers and transmitters all around us, and some people are worried about that exposure to those radio waves or EMFs. So 5G is really going to revolutionise the way that we live. There'll be huge leaps in AI, machine learning. Think about cars that drive themselves. New technologies in our houses will be automated. And that, as I said, is really exciting for some people. But do we have enough information on the safety of this new technology? And a lot of people are questioning that right now. And in particular, there are places like Geneva and other places in Europe, here in Australia, Byron Bay, as well as a number of other places around the world have actually stopped the rollout of 5G and are demanding there be more information on the safety data. And as a scientist and a mother and a human being that's concerned about my own health and my family and that of the planet, I think it makes sense that we want to be really sure that this is safe before we launch into this head on. So the question that everyone has been asking, does 5G cause coronavirus? And the YouTube video I watched was quite concerning in that it really was saying that 5G has caused this outbreak in COVID-19. I have to say, without a doubt, no. 5G has not caused coronavirus. In previous videos, I've explained that it's likely that this new coronavirus that causes COVID-19 has come from Wuhan, possibly the wet markets, possibly it's jumped from an animal to humans. We first identified coronaviruses back in the 1960s. We know a lot about them. We know that this particular virus, there are very similar viruses genetically almost identical in bats. We still don't know exactly if it's come straight from bats or another animal. We're waiting on all that information, but I definitely know that 5G did not cause it, and we have enough evidence and a story behind the coronaviruses to be able to track these. But even though I'm very firm and cannot scientifically understand this link between 5G, pushing coronavirus out of the body, I will say that 5G could impact on our immune system. Perhaps there's some indirect links, but I have to tread softly here because we really do need more research. But when I put my science hat on, what I can tell you is that these higher frequency radio waves, or these EMFs, can cause changes in gene expression. So what does that mean? Changing gene expression means you're turning off and on of your genes. So your genes are found in your cells. We're all made up of cells. And then within the cells, we have our DNA, and that codes for a number of genes. And if you think about your cells as like a factory, and the genes are making these proteins, the proteins are like the workers. We need these all over the body. We have structural proteins. Proteins are enzymes to help make energy, to digest food. Proteins are transporters to get nutrients to different parts of the body. So these proteins are essential and impact on our health. So what can happen with these radio waves are that they could actually change gene expression. So it's changing the proteins in the cell, and that can change cell function and possibly impact on our health. So there is some sort of scientific plausibility and some mechanisms in relation to 5G that tells us there could be some changes in cellular health. And the other thing I'd like to add is there does seem to be some research, though we need more, suggesting that 5G can increase oxidative stress and DNA damage, another area that I've worked in. Oxidative stress, for those of you that don't know or are not familiar with the term, is really something that happens when our body's a little out of balance. So you've probably heard about antioxidants. They are things that really compensate for the oxidants that cause oxidative stress. So we want to have this balance between antioxidants and our pro-oxidants. Otherwise we get oxidative stress, and oxidative stress damages our cells. So before I sort of talk about this link a little further with 5G, just know that if you're smoking cigarettes, that's causing a lot of oxidative stress. You should be focusing on that first. If you are drinking a lot of alcohol and having, these binge nights drinking, that's going to cause a lot of oxidative stress and DNA damage. So there's lots of things in our environment and the way that we live that can cause oxidative stress. It's not just 5G or these radio waves. What's important to know is that there are these mechanisms. There could be changes when we're talking about 5G and the influence on health. There could be changes in gene expression. It could increase oxidative stress and possibly DNA damage. So some underlying things that could affect our health, that could affect our immune system, that may make us more susceptible to infections or ill health. And following on with the oxidative stress, I would just like to make a comment around sort of fertility, or particularly male fertility. When you think that men keep their mobile phone in their pocket, which is really close, down here, and we're thinking about semen parameters or, sperm DNA damage, if you've got your phone down here and it's actually emitting these radio waves, it could cause oxidative stress, which is the number one cause of DNA damage and sperm, or what we call semen abnormalities. So anyone that's dealing with fertility issues will know what I mean. For those that don't, semen abnormalities, we're talking about problems with that sort of sperm cell, that semen. It might not be swimming properly, it might have multiple heads, and ultimately that male is going to have problems getting pregnant or having a healthy pregnancy. And even on that note, thinking about pregnant women, babies are more sensitive, young children are more sensitive to all of these environmental exposures, and they're things that we want to consider. So I want to emphasize that I do not think that 5G causes COVID-19. However, there could be some indirect links with health, but people really need to consider a lot more than 5G if they want to work on their health. It's a component. And I guess lastly, what else I would like to say to you as a geneticist, genetically, we have all evolved and adapted to our environment. It's taken thousands of years. We've evolved with our environment. But in the last 100 years, we have made extreme changes to our environment. The way we live, the food we eat, we're more sedentary, the chemicals and toxins we're putting in the environment. Think about plastic as an example. We are changing the world so quickly, and I think we all know it's affecting our health. The increase in chronic disease, in mental health disorders is striking. So I don't think we need to rush this. I'm not anti-technology at all. Believe me, if you know me, I'm a million miles an hour. I want to do so many things in this world. And the thought of having the ability to have fast internet connection and be able to do more online, I work online with people all over the world, is awesome. But I want to know that this is safe. I want to be very confident that this is safe before we jump into this. They want to put satellites all over the planet. There's going to be some substantial changes here that will be hard to go back from. Dr. Robin Kelly, and this is actually a really good point to make. Dr. Robin Kelly is someone in New Zealand. He's a GP, and I presented with him in New Zealand at the AIMA conference just before we all had lockdown. And he's been researching this. He's actually doing a lot of education in this area, and he made such a great point in saying that these companies are investing billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars into this technology. You know, what we need is safety data and some independent studies sort of running alongside to check that this is okay for our health. So what would be a great idea is if these companies could actually set aside a proportion. This could be a small proportion when you consider they're spending billions, a proportion of this budget, this investment that could go to funding independent research. So in Australia, this independent research would be done by places like CSIRO or universities or perhaps other government bodies and organisations, hospitals, things like that. Companies and organisations that are not directly linked with the company that is developing that technology. So there's no one that's getting any financial gain. Because often the issue with these things is that the companies that are developing these technologies might have done a little bit of research, perhaps not to the extent that we need, but also we need to be cautious of those results. They may be biased because a lot of people are going to gain from these technologies or products or drugs or chemicals or toxins or whatever it is that they're producing. So I think that what Robin has said is a great idea, and together with a collective voice, if all of us state this, it may be something that happens in the future, that companies that actually are going to invest and change the way we live and come up with these new amazing technologies or products actually have to set aside some money so that we can actually do some safety studies, independent research alongside. It makes perfect sense to me. I mentioned plastic before. I don't want to go on a tangent. I always go on tangents, but just look at plastic. It was going to revolutionise our lives. It has. It's everywhere now, and it's really impacting on. It's an endocrine disruptor, hormones, the ocean, all that. But that's not the purpose of this video. Let's talk about 5G. So let's wrap it up. 5G, it's a new technology. It's going to mean the internet's faster. There's going to be huge leaps in technology, and it's really exciting. But I think what we can all say is that we need to be a little cautious. Let's get some more safety data before we move forward. As I said, I'm not anti-technology. It may be that we just come up with some regulations. Maybe we need some more safety measures in place near the transmitters and towers. Perhaps we don't put these things near childcare centres. Perhaps the companies need to tweak this a little just to make sure it's a bit safer. I don't know the answers, but I think that we have the right to be asking for this. I also want to say that 5G does not cause the coronavirus, but it could have some impacts on our immune system, and we really need more research. And that's it. So that's my information. I really hope that it has cleared things up for you. Please share this with people that are genuinely wondering what the hell is going on with 5G and the coronavirus. Share it. Subscribe to my channel if you would like some more information or to stay up to date with my health chats and like the post. So in the next video, I'm actually going to be talking about the impact of sort of coronavirus on the environment. And I really think that will be the last video. I know there's been some other questions coming in. I've been responding to some people sort of privately. Perhaps anything else I'll just put up on the Facebook page. Feel free to go to my business Facebook page, Dr. Denise Furness, PhD. But I think we're all getting a little saturated with the coronavirus. We're all ready to move on and get back to normality. So next week will be the last video. I really intend to sort of wrap this up. I want to finish on a positive and talk about some of the environmental effects, and then we'll get on to some other health issues and topics. So as I said, please share this if you liked it, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.